Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight down at the Crossroads. I'm Sean Sellers with Jake Bell, David Humphrey, Miss Holly, and Michelle Sellers, our producer. It's going to be a fun show tonight. We're actually going old school, and we're going to tell ghost stories tonight as the main part of our show. So I'm really excited about that. Should be a lot of fun. I know David and Holly and Michelle's worked really hard to get their ghost stories all together for tonight. So we'll see what happens. Jake, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm sweating.
Are you?
Think my computer, it never fails, like, my luck. Because, like, my computer, think about the last time it's locked up. It's been, 3 weeks since the last time we did the show?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
It never locks up. 5 minutes before the show, it locks up. I have to restart and redo everything. Just got in under the time.
Hey, at least we're up and running. We're all good. I want to invite everybody to please check out our websites at SeanSellers.com, SouthernParanormalResearchers.org, and ChroniclesOfASupernaturalist.com. We got our book out. If you hadn't got a copy of it, would like a copy, check it out and let us know what you think. Also, come on out and sign our guest book at SeanSellers.com and let us know what you think about the show so far. We've got some other book projects we're working on and should be out. Hopefully have one out this year. Mark's editing them for us. And actually, I finally started writing a spiritual book, and we're up to 10,000 words this weekend. Had a good weekend for work, so we're definitely moving along and trying to get things together. We also, I guess, getting our scheduled up for 2012 from traveling and speaking and about working on that. So we're excited about that and going to be able to talk about that really soon as well. So we've got a lot of things cooking. So we'll kind of see what happens. You know what else? Me and Jake, I told Jake I've got a wild hair too. What I want to do, I actually want to write a play.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Jake, you're amazed how many times I call and I say, man, I got an idea.
Soon enough, he's going to have a pencil-thin mustache and start liking men.
That's not going to happen.
Wow.
But hey, a play's going to happen.
Yes, Tennessee?
I am a fan of Tennessee Williams. I very much am a fan of Tennessee Williams.
You're going to wear what a bus named Desire?
Yes.
Is that what it's going to be?
Streetcar.
I know. I'm saying your version would be a bus. We don't have streetcars in Montgomery.
Yeah, I guess so. Bus named Desire.
A trolley named Desire?
Yeah.
Lunch
Cat on
trolley
a hot tin roof.
Yes.
Ooh. We're going to make the play happen. That is something that's going to happen. We're going to make it happen.
It's going to be about cheeseburgers and liquor.
It could be. That's a good story.
I think people would actually see that play.
Hey, cheeseburger and liquor is the title.
It's the title. There you go. People are going to come in expecting dinner. It's just a play.
It's just a play. You know what? We're going to get together and make it happen.
Yes.
So we'll see. Mr. Humphrey, how are you tonight?
Man, I'm wonderful. It's been a wonderful week.
Has it? You been Facebook gangstering lately?
I've been doing a lot on Facebook. I want to thank everybody that pushes the radio show stuff. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. I thank you to all our friends, everybody on the website that comments, everybody that talks about the book. People are starting to push the book again. And also, people are very, very ready and pumped up for our Buena Vista in October. People are still pushing that, ready. It's all out in the news. It's out on the website. It's out on Facebook. People are excited about Prattville, Alabama in October.
Hey, that's becoming a big thing every year. So.
It is. We're going to do 2 nights of it.
I think David should do ads for the local radio station.
We're not only going to do one night. Well, customers, we're going to give you 2 nights. 2 nights of Halloween action.
2 nights.
2 nights.
2 nights.
Wow, Holly, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Oh, are you? Are you ready for Buena Vista? That'll be your first event.
There you go.
I'm ready. I'm excited to see what who all comes out and what comes out.
Wow.
Trying to repair Sean's stuff, so.
Wow.
Of course, Sean always has the broke stuff.
Yeah, my stuff is definitely broke down.
Yeah, David, everything's still live, though.
I was actually thinking the only night we're actually going to be there, is going to be that Friday night. We're doing football.
Yep.
So Saturday night should be wide open, and we'll be getting there right at the end on the other. So it's going to be a busy, busy time, but we're ready, I guess. Michelle, how are you? You're sickly over there?
I'm a little under the weather.
Yeah. Yep. Jake, what's going on with you, man?
Nothing. I finally got everything kind of fixed. Like, are you still here?
I can't hear nothing.
Your headphones are shorted, man. There's nothing I can do. Luckily, we have no guest.
Okay, that's good.
We're gonna have to give you new headphones.
All right.
I'll do that at the break for you.
That's fine. Goodness gracious, technical difficulties, but hey, we wouldn't have it any other way.
I wish everybody would send us cakes and brownies to our P.O. box.
No, please, no more. Hey, if you send us some dessert, send us something. At least
send us something packaged
let us know who sent
and let us know who sent it. But
individually wrapped, no poison, please.
Yeah, but you know what? Somebody send us something, and we'll talk about it on the radio.
Yeah.
Send it to our P.O. box. Go to our website, get our P.O. box number, and send us something in the mail.
I thought he was saying that.
You can send us a paycheck. You can send us brownies.
Wow.
I love brownies, and I love donkeys.
What's the deal with the donkeys?
I love
what's the kick?
Because I love my donkey. I love donkeys and poles, stripper poles and donkeys. Just like Lemmy from Motorhead likes strippers and cold beer. Hump from down at the Crossroads Radio likes donkeys and stripper poles.
That's very disturbing.
What's kind of weird is because, you don't ever say that you like watching members of the opposite sex with those things, but you like them.
I do like them.
Does anyone see my point?
I saw the point at the very beginning.
Yes. Y'all are so wild and crazy.
Well, when are you going on tour with your donkey show?
I'm actually fixing to get it started now. But the beauty is, if you come to Buena Vista in October, you're going to see all kinds of stuff.
To Buena Vista.
We're going to have good times. We're going to have good times, guys. I'd love to do a live show that night.
Hub's going to be dressed up as a giant avocado.
That's the name of the show.
I'm going to be in costume. I'm going to wear a costume. You can.
Are you going with the Elizabeth Taylor costume? Or you going to go more with the Tina Turner?
I'm thinking doing the Tina Turner with the high heels. And I got one of them big old wigs. I think I look lovely.
Yeah, I think you should.
I was thinking about wrestling Angel in Jello.
Yeah. But see, what you gonna do when Angel puts the figure 4 on you?
Locks it down.
I'm gonna tap out and wave down.
We'll be screaming, Angel, don't lock it down, and she locks it on anyway.
And I'm gonna tap out. Yes,
I need ACL surgery. Stat.
Yes. And my mouth's full of Jello.
As they load him up on the ambulance, she'll do the old horseman key where she'll flip him off of the gurney. Yes. Jump right back on him.
That would be good times. We're definitely going to do something crazy and wild in October.
Yeah, we always do something crazy.
It's always good times. And I believe, how many people did we have last year? Close to 500?
Not last year, the year before.
The year before.
Last year was a one night.
One night only.
We had to break it down to one night.
200 people there one night.
It was ridiculous. We couldn't handle everybody.
When was it when we had the lady that messed herself?
That was the year before that.
It was actually 2 years ago. That's when we had it. 2 shows, 2 nights, Friday and Saturday night.
Crazy times.
Since I've never been, what actually happens? What?
Anything and everything.
Yeah, you name it, it happens.
That you can think of absolutely happens in a night because it's set up as a meet and greet, a investigation, a paranormal 101, questions and answers, the history of the house. It's really a cool thing around Halloween time. You may see me with the donkey outside. I don't know.
Yes,
it could get crazy.
That is quite disturbing. But it's a fun event. We're trying to bring new stuff, and each year it keeps growing. A year ago, not last year, I guess. Wow, 3 years.
3 years.
3 years. The second year we done it, we wasn't going to do it again, and we just did we thought we was going to do an easy kids night, teenage night, and then it packed out all the teens again.
Wow.
And then last year we did it one night, and it was packed out again. So we've done really good.
But guys, we do laugh and joke, and we have a good time with it. But it really does help the Autauga County Historical Society. They're hurting for money. They're hurting for funds. This is one of their big fundraisers per year that we give back. That we give back to the county of Autauga. And they do make money to keep that house going. And that's a part of our history. Everybody that lives here, that's a part of their history, that house. And you should give to it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing, and it's always a good time for us. Anytime we can do something to give back, that's what it's all about. So we're happy to be a part of that for sure.
For sure.
Word.
For sure. Word
up, homie.
Yep. So, you know what? There's so much to talk about tonight. You know, so many different things to go on. I know we're going to do our stories and everything else. But, Jake, do you want to kind of take it some other directions, or before we kind of jump into our stories?
Auburn University is absolutely horrible this year.
Wow.
I just want to make sure that everyone out there that's an Auburn fan knows that.
You know what?
I think if you're a true fan, you know it.
Yes.
Yeah, college football kicked off this past weekend. Texas A&M looks to be a brand new member of the SEC.
Yeah.
Lots going on with college football. The Montgomery Jets got beat. You know what? I will go ahead and say this to all of our listeners. You know, our youth football program, we'll talk about it. I am very proud. My little boy scored his first touchdown Saturday.
Yes. And you missed it.
And I missed it working, but that's all right. That's all right. In our team, we coached 9 and 10-year-olds. We got beat 28-0. We hope to turn things around, and you never know. They might bring a U-Haul and fire me, like I was a college coach. Move me on out.
Like old dude got.
Yeah.
What was Tuberville?
Yeah, you know, it's amazing because you got half the family is like, man, you need to go to a spread. You need to do this.
Y'all don't know how to coach.
Yeah, you don't know how to coach. And then we got dads, another dad that's coached. We have had dads that's coached and done a part of athletics, and it was like, wow, you have no talent. I feel for you. What are you going to do? And it was like, I don't have a clue.
They're like, better you than me.
Everybody's bigger. Everybody's faster.
Stronger.
Everybody's stronger. What are you going to do? I don't have a clue. You know, I don't. But we're going to keep getting better, and you know what? I'm a firm believer we're going to surprise some people later on. But definitely, if you're interested, check out MontgomeryJets.com. Check out our photos and everything we've got going on. I think it's a good thing.
And, of course, Alabama broke in the new football season just like it always does with a good old-fashioned family stabbing.
You know, how else do you kick off the football season?
That's how we do it here in Alabama.
I guarantee that was on a dirt road.
That was in Hartselle, Alabama.
Absolutely.
Morgan County deputies arrested a Hartselle woman after she allegedly stabbed her husband during an Alabama football game.
Roll Tide.
Deputies were called to 15 Lockhart Road for a domestic assault. When they arrived, the victim, Donald Hicks, was on his front porch. Hicks had a stab wound on his hand and told deputies that his wife, 54-year-old Kimberly Hicks, stabbed him and locked herself inside the home. It's kind of messed up.
Yes.
That's crazy.
When deputies attempted to contact Kimberly Hicks, they found that she had fled the scene on foot through a field. K-9 units tracked Kimberly Hicks' trail to the road where the suspect may have been picked up in a vehicle. Donald Hicks refused to go to the hospital and was treated at the scene. Just picture it in your mind.
I mean, that's chaotic.
Officials said both husband and wife had been drinking all day while watching the Alabama football game.
Wow.
Where the defendant used the kitchen knife to stab her husband in the hand. And that's how we do in Alabama.
Roll Tide, boys, roll Tide.
You know,
and I'm an Alabama fan, so.
And you know, we're looking at the picture of her, and you know, it's pretty much what you expect.
I keep expecting the soundbite, my precious.
That's my precious lady.
Get the troll feeling.
Wow, yeah.
The dude.
Is her gut hanging out of her shirt?
It don't get that far. It looks like that. No, she's basically smoking a cigarette, waiting on the authorities, cussing her husband.
Drinking a Coors Light. Maybe a Natural Light.
Well, since we're kind of like on the sports kick and everything else, what do y'all think about the NFL's highest paid player might be out for the year? Peyton Manning?
Absolutely. That is awesome.
Yeah. Wow. That's out there. And also, if you're a big boxing fan, investigators are convinced now that Arturo Grady was murdered. The boxer. I thought that's pretty interesting. A lot of things out there. So we'll see what's happening. Holly, what do you think about all this? What do you think about college football? Are you a big fan?
I'm a big fan of Alabama. And the reason she stabbed him was it her husband?
Yeah,
is because he wanted the stripper poles out.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
You know, that was a thinly veiled jab at David.
It was.
At least we got faith.
You know what? You know, if it had been David would have had to put his pom poms up and hang up his cheerleading outfit for the authorities got there.
Get the pantyhose off his face.
Yeah.
She-Ra. There she blows.
Sir, why are you wearing makeup? It's none of your business why I'm wearing makeup.
Fix my hand. My wife has stabbed me in my hand, son. Don't worry about these panties on my head. Did I tell you the time at the hospital where I put the panties on my head?
Oh my gosh.
When did that happen?
When Melanie was sick with the baby in the hospital.
And you put panties on your head?
To try to entertain her.
Did it work?
The nurse accidentally walked in and saw me, and I turned around, and it was very uncomfortable. But she thought it was kind of cute and funny.
She was like, "Please, Lord, let me get out of this room alive, and I'll never smoke a cigarette again."
Yes.
See, I was helping her.
Oh
Oh, wow.
boy.
Now, whoa, you was helping her.
Yes.
Who were you helping again?
Yeah, and you had some drawers on your
No,
head.
I was helping the nurse because if she said I was going to quit
So
smoking,
you had the
she'd
nurse's
saw
panties
that.
on your head?
No. I was trying to help her because she said she would quit smoking, so that I use that as reinforcement to try to help somebody do something that's positive and not so negative.
Oh, really?
The logic train has just derailed.
You know what? We was at the beach one time. Speaking of humping panties,
Yes.
Oh no.
me humping Trey, and me hump
Kevin.
Burnett and Kevin Chavis was all out in the ocean,
Having a good time.
And our wives that we was married to at that time was sitting on the beach, and we was out there and we was having a beer, and we thought it was funny that the young ladies next to us had bikinis on. We thought it was funny to have hump trade bottoms. And
I'll give her my bathing suit for your bottoms.
So the little 20-year-old girl said, okay. So she pulled her bottoms off in the ocean, handed them to Hump. Hump put the bottoms on and walked out. She was a normal-sized girl.
Yeah.
Hump walked out, brought everybody's beers in his bikini in his little thing. And then she went to get it back, and when she threw Hump his shorts, Kevin intercepted him and wouldn't give Hump his shorts back.
So I just stayed in the
So
water
Hump got
naked.
mad, and then the young lady didn't think in her head that how much Hump stretched them.
Oh, I stretched them out horrible.
Now, this is a regular sized lady, and Hump is 400-pound Hump, and he stretched them beyond belief. So them bottoms was done.
Hey, she come out of the water and she was sagging. Her bottom, you could see her bum bum.
Yeah, that was a good time.
We got pictures of that.
Yeah, we did. There's a lot of pictures out there that. Whoo,
Get that. I'm gonna run for mayor.
you know what? You just got to say, yes, that was me. I had a good time.
You know where those are at, actually? And I don't know how this really speaks of me.
Vote for me.
No.
I think they're in my closet.
What? All those photos?
Because you remember they were
Wow,
in that bag
Jake.
you gave me?
Oh, probably so.
And
Yeah.
I still have it. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think those...
That's
okay.
probably those photos.
Yes, Jake.
Wow.
Yeah.
We keep just passing the tradition down.
Yeah, exactly.
At least I don't have the one with Hump at Christmas or New Year's with his baby diaper. and
With a
it's got
baby diaper machine gun.
Yeah, I was a New Year's baby. I wore a big adult diaper, and I had my AR-15 out.
Well, you know what? Strangely
That is good
enough,
times.
that used to be one of Hump's requests was the adult diapers.
I'd like adult diapers, please.
Why?
And no, we
because
don't know. Nobody really ever asked the question until he came out that Christmas Eve and walked out of the room with the diaper on and holding his machine gun.
With nothing else on.
That's it.
Boy, that's a conversation piece.
No, that's paranormal. That makes you want to say, does anybody here want to communicate?
Oh, boy.
Yes. Is anybody here want to communicate?
I think there's somebody
Yeah.
in diapers.
Woo. Get down.
Is that just a plea for please love me?
Is that
what that is?
I think so.
I need a hug, Jake. Come hug me in my diaper. Hey, pretend like I'm a baby.
Oh, God.
There's people that like that, David.
Yes. I'm going to be like,
I was like, yes,
Jake,
and I
I'm
want
be
to.
like, I'm one of them. I just want to be loved and hugged and loved. Goody.
Man, I am a little disturbed right now. Let's get out of this
Please.
conversation.
Okay.
This is a supernatural show.
Speaking of weird stuff, John Wayne's personal items are up for auction. Ethan Wayne, his youngest son, knows choosing what to keep and what to sell is delicate. The Duke's True Grit, Golden Globe, and an eye patch from the film are among available items. So basically, Sean, do you have any disposable income?
I wished.
Then you would be getting John Wayne stuff.
I would.
Where was it we went in and they had a life-size thing of John Wayne?
Well, I had one of those.
Did you?
Yeah, I had one of those from high
Sure
school
did.
all the way up. And during my shrine days and all that, I still had John Wayne.
Yep.
And then I got, the nights I would have a really good time and I would come in and then John Wayne would be standing in the room and every time I'd come in, he would scare me because I was thinking it was a real man in the house.
Boy,
and then it finally got to the point where I was like, you know what, he can't stay here no more. He scared me. Because I'd go to sleep at night and I'd wake up and John Wayne's and gotten up, got him a cup of coffee and moved to the room. And I lay there and said, John Wayne's moving. But it was in a life-size cardboard box.
He's just sitting there disappointed in you.
Yeah, he's just watching me. You know how you go to sleep, he's in the far corner, you wake
Yes.
up, he's right next to your bed standing there.
How you doing there,
Yes.
Pilgrim?
Yes.
That's creepy.
So he ended up at the shrine.
Yes, he did. In the unit room.
In the unit room.
Oh boy.
Well, how do you feel about his son selling that stuff?
That's I don't know.
The reason why I'm saying it is I believe tomorrow Elizabeth Taylor's jewelry, her personal jewelry, goes to auction tomorrow.
$30 million worth.
Can you believe? I mean, why are they selling that?
Money.
What? No.
No, here's the thing.
What? No. What?
Why do they need that? Why do they need to sell her jewelry for that money?
Wasn't that her wishes? Didn't she request that to be done?
To sell it?
Yeah.
And give it away?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Because me and Michelle saw that earlier, but I don't remember. Do you remember, Michelle?
Is that what it was about?
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
It's for charity?
I believe you.
So, Michelle, you're sick all of a sudden?
All of a sudden sick.
No, I haven't felt good all day.
Oh, really?
She just decided to share that with you.
Yeah.
So now she's wrapped up in a robe.
Yeah, no, she's
drinking juice.
Pity me.
And Holly's sitting over there is like, I'm sitting next to the sick person.
Yeah. I'll have the flu next week.
Pity
I don't
me.
have the flu.
Look at me and pity me.
Hey, you know what's weird? I just noticed, Jake.
What?
Me and you are not sick tonight.
No.
Is that not weird?
That is
Wonder
weird.
why.
Huh.
Could it be possibly the 70-year-old dog that had incredible dandruff is not here anymore?
That could be it.
Yes.
Where's the cat?
You know what?
Did the dog have emphysema?
I don't know.
Was the dog sick?
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't have a clue.
Holly,
If he's not sick now, he is.
He's now.
Where he's at, he's probably miserable.
you know Holly brought dessert.
Brought pie.
She brought pie.
Thank you for
That's just a hint to all our listeners.
random.
To grab the P.O. Box number that's on the website, SouthernParanormalResearchers.org.
Wow.
Send us some brownies.
I think
Make sure we get a returned address on those brownies.
Let us know who it's
Individually
from.
wrapped.
Yes.
Yeah, individually
Yes,
wrapped,
please.
please. So what did y'all think about the tropical storm that came through this week?
Lee.
Yeah.
We needed it. I enjoyed the 65-degree weather yesterday immensely. It was 75 today, and my heart was broken.
Yes, it was gone quickly. It was very nice.
So ready to be able to wear a jacket in October.
Yeah, like we used to.
Yeah, because I always
days
remember
are
going
gone.
to the fair in October
Yeah.
with a jacket.
Jake, that was probably when you were a little kid because that was when we were in junior high school.
We would wear our Letterman's jacket. We would look forward to it because that was the point. We'd wear our Letterman's jacket and walk around the fair.
It was as of 2001, and this is an Enterprise.
Well, you know what? That could be right because it was 89, 88, 89, maybe 90. So I'll give you a year.
2001's a year
Yeah.
from 89 to 90.
I don't believe it in 2001?
If you wore a
No.
jacket in 2001 here, you was hot as Hades.
Yes, sir. There's no way it could have been that cold in 2001.
When is Enterprise's fair?
I thought you said 90.
November. I believe you wore it in November.
Yes. You see,
Like so-
it's the first week of
If he
November.
went to Enterprise,
Yeah, I went to the Peanut Festival in Dothan. So I don't go to the...
You know, I
fair
may
here.
give you that because
you
we
know
went
Jake's
camping-
anywhere where there's hot nuts.
Yes. He loves hot, salty nuts. They're delicious. Hot, salty nuts.
Can we at least take the joke and make them boiled peanuts? Because
Sometimes if you get them swollen, they're bold.
I like them Cajun.
And they're spicy nuts.
You like Cajun nuts?
I do.
I love hot, spicy nuts.
Salty.
You remember the first week in November, Sean, that we went camping for our first...
Speaking of nuts, remember when we went camping?
Yes, we were Bigfoot nuts.
We was actually
And it
looking
was
for
20
Bigfoot,
degrees.
and we actually had record lows that
Yes.
night. Only thing I remember is that we was in this tent, me, Hump, and James, which is
Wow.
creepy enough.
It's creepy.
James had a thermal suit on, so he was fine. Me and Hump wasn't. We was freezing, and I went to sleep.
Yes.
And I woke up the next morning. I rolled over, and Hump's laying there, eyes wide open, face covered. Only thing showing is his eyes and face. And I said, "Man, have you slept at all?" And he shook his head, "No."
No, I never went to sleep. I stayed there and looked at the wall because I thought I was going to die.
It was bad. It was really bad.
I would have went home.
Oh, I wanted
We
to.
couldn't
We
because we had the 4-wheel in.
We had to 4-wheel drive my truck into this place through a creek.
And then, of course, Bo Duke, our only way in, tries to gun it and digs out the hole.
Oh, no.
I rutted the entire creek.
Yeah.
So there's really no way out.
No way
No,
out.
yeah.
So we were stuck there all night long, no matter what.
Oh, boy. Did you have to get somebody to come get you?
No, I floored it coming out
He
of there.
floored it coming out of there. The 2 days later, we
Y'all
stayed
just-
2 nights.
Yeah.
And y'all's head just basically hit the roof.
Yeah, we was 2 nights in that.
It took like 2 hours to clean my truck.
Wow.
It was not good time.
It was under the hood. Water went over my hood.
I would definitely do it again, but
Yes.
with in
The proper
different-
attire.
Yes,
It like
yeah.
July. Yes.
No,
No, because you're dealing with snakes.
Oh yeah, true.
we
When
don't
is
do
the proper
snakes.
time anymore?
I don't
November
know.
now.
I don't know. We did it in November and we
Yeah.
froze. You know what? It don't matter. Anytime God got such a sense of humor, anytime we out there, He's
Yeah.
going to have a good time with us.
Pretty much.
Hoo-ha.
But that's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
So we're going to do our stories tonight. We've all got several on. We don't have
Several.
It should be fun. I know we're not going to jump on them right now because I have a feeling Michelle doesn't have her 4. Ain't got 1.
I actually got one.
Gosh dang.
You know what? My whole life is a ghost story.
You know, why don't we just save it to the second hour? Because the worst case scenario, Holly, Jake, and me can feel it that hour.
Feel it.
Yes, that could be the way to go. Mr. Humphrey, you wanted to talk about a paranormal roundtable.
You know I do.
Well, what do you want a roundtable
What
about?
are some of the items you would like to discuss, Mr. Hunt?
How about the new paranormal TV shows coming out?
I don't
Which
know
ones are
anything
those?
about it.
How about the one that was on recently?
What's that?
What is it? Paranormal.
I tell you, you're really prepared for this.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
I
we
have
just talked
discussion
about
topics. What did we just talk about? I don't remember any
it. The
paranormal
show,
shows.
the show that was on.
There was a show coming on, and y'all asked me, is it a new show?
We watched the Republican debate. What are you
That's
talking-
paranormal.
That's paranormal.
Yeah, that's
That
an
was a
interesting
paranormal
subject.
show.
But like, what is
Let's
that? The
go,
paranormal
Ron Paul.
show?
I don't know. I
Ron
don't know
Paul
what
looks like you
what
wanna
is it?
stab somebody?
Paranormal experience?
Yeah,
Paranormal.
because they were actually doing a story in Florida. Some of the same ones that we've done twice.
All right. I am absolutely taken back a little bit because I don't.
No one knows what David's talking
Now,
about.
Paranormal Witness is the name of the show.
We've heard this story before about the imaginary girl that's in Florida. Actually, they did, if I'm not mistaken, Unsolved Mysteries did one of these cases. It's similar to the one that they did in Georgia. So I mean, it's just the same thing.
Everyone's like, okay, where's the point for us to jump in?
I don't know. I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Paranormal.
So, what do you think about all these shows? What do you think about them, David?
I mean, I don't like them. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them.
You know, I've thoroughly enjoyed the Halloween shows that's come out that does the history and stuff. The
I just like
histories
I
and
like
all that.
Halloween shows. Period.
Yes.
I like the cartoon
But
specials
guys-
they do. The specials on like sitcoms they do. I like Halloween shows.
But guys, that is something that goes with the season. Like the different haunted restaurants comes around September, October.
You know what I think is really cool?
Haunted
is,
places.
Haunted. Yeah. Haunted
Yeah,
hay
yeah,
rides.
haunted. You know that goes with it. These are TV shows that are put out in the fall season, the summer season, the spring season.
Well-
and they're on every corner now.
You know, it's been a coon day since I went to haunted house. Maybe we need to do that this
Go to a haunted house.
instead of just being in Buena Vista.
I'm down with going to a haunted house.
I like them.
Where is one?
There's
Birmingham.
a bunch of Birmingham.
Oh, the
Sloth
Sloth
Furnace.
There's
Furnace.
a hayride somewhere in like Electric or something. isn't
Yeah.
it? Oh gosh, what if it's that guy with the castration machine?
Oh, God.
and he gets
That's-
little boys and he gets in there and he
Oh,
kills
God.
them.
He just took
David.
it way too far. He's ruined it.
Oh,
We need to have us a haunted house.
I like haunted houses. Are you going to play Leatherface?
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm scared of the chainsaws.
No,
You know-
you take the chain off and you would like get people.
Yeah, I remember it. I've been
Yeah,
to
that's really not cool.
Michelle, what you got?
I was just going to say we could never do a haunted house because you would be too afraid to go in it.
Wow.
Oh, no, Sean will go.
I like haunted houses.
Haven't we gone to one?
The Buena Vista would be
so.
a real cool
Yeah.
haunted house if you
We
could,
have.
if for liability you'd have
keep
to.
wanting to say we've gone to sloths, but I don't think we have.
No, we have. I've been to
Me and
Sloth.
Sean,
I've
we
been to
went to
Sloth with
Sloth.
Pop one time. Yeah.
I have too. That was pretty fun.
I didn't. Did you really like going to Sloss for Halloween? I did not.
You know,
It was a
okay.
lot of walking for nothing.
You mean the house?
the haunted
You
house?
know, I tell you what, I enjoyed Sloths before and after with the movies the atmosphere.
Oh, it was cool.
But the of course the haunted house part was okay. You know,
It was a lot of walking.
Yeah, but did you guys have the big gigantic animatronic pumpkin headed thing at the end?
I don't think so.
See, I don't think you had that.
No, we didn't.
That was
No.
the coolest thing to me.
Yeah.
Because they had like a big Tesla coil and crap, and it would go against the side of the
No,
cage and all. Okay, no.
They
But
had rock bands and movies.
you know what? They used to have a lot of haunted houses here in Montgomery. You know, so I guess the really
What
famous
happened?
ones, and they stopped. You know, there used to be one in our neighborhood in Warmondale,
The Fright Factory.
the Fright Factory.
Fright
They actually
Factory.
had one where you would have to take slides and slide out.
That's
and
pretty sweet.
And you would slide out, but there would be snakes below you, where it's like a glass slide, and they'd slide out of snakes. And the Fright Factory in Warmondale closed, and they couldn't come back no more because somebody slid down the thing or whatever, took off running and ran into a one of the beams outside of the breezeway and laid themselves out. And they actually couldn't come back no more, even though it's recreation immunity and all
Yeah.
that. But the person freaked out. He came out. He took off running and hit that beam.
Stupid.
And then
See,
the
it's those
JCs
people-
had the haunted house here for a long time.
They
Yeah.
got to ruin it for everybody.
Yeah,
You know, we had this in Enterprise, right? Okay, we have this field, and I'll have to take you guys by it sometime whenever we're down there.
Yeah.
next. Big open field, right? In the middle of it is this just really, really old barn, and it's a barn like you think it would be. You know, it's a big 2-story barn, hayloft on
Yeah.
top, right? Looks like a classic barn.
yeah.
You know, gray, dilapidated. They kept it that way on the outside. On the inside was the JC's haunted house. Now, one of my dad's friend's son, I think his name was Jason Carr. Basically, he was one of those kids in the 80s that always had the monster makeup. He was
Yeah.
really good at it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's basically in Hollywood. That's his job now,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. That's what he does. He did all their stuff, and I mean, it was freaking scary
Yeah.
because he would dress up as Freddy, and he was a dead-on Freddy Krueger.
Oh, wow.
And he had like dismembered limbs everywhere and stuff. It was the flipping coolest haunted house ever. It was the JC's, and I went to do it after that.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to do it forever, and I finally got it in. My dad wouldn't let me. Said I had to get a job.
Why?
I was still in high school. It was my
Oh.
senior year, and I wanted to do it.
He wouldn't let you.
He wouldn't let me.
God.
You know, the one I went to, it was a JC's haunted house here in Montgomery. I made it through the first room and come running out of it, and that was it for me. When
Really? Got
Y102
you?
and JC's, they did the haunted house that was on Dexter.
Yeah, and you
In the
know
old two-story
that
house.
was you know why that was a real. It was really a haunted house, and
Yes.
they had a bunch of things happen to them while they was building it, while they was setting it up, and afterwards. And they remember they wouldn't have it there the other year
Yeah.
because of the freaky things kept happening to the people after the shows. And they'd shut down at night, and it was like, "Fuck
That's a
this!"
cool haunted
You know,
house.
they
Hey,
shut it down.
Jake, this is no crap. You walk. I can remember this just as it was happened yesterday.
Sweet.
You walk in and they have everybody walk up. You can't see nothing. It's just a black room.
Yeah.
There's a rail. Everybody walks to the rail. All of a sudden, strobe lights come on. There's these strobe lights everywhere. And they had this big cake. It looked like a big old white, like a wedding cake.
Yes.
All of a sudden, this woman comes out with fair skin, like she's got powder on her skin, in a wedding dress. And you start hearing stuff come over the speakers, you know, like growling and stuff.
Cool.
And I remember it was strobe lights, and all of a sudden, fog machine starts rolling out. I remember her face going through the cake, and then all of a sudden, everything goes black. And then all of a sudden, the lights come back on, and she's got blood all over and a big knife, and she's standing right there at the rail. And that was it. That's as far as I could get with it.
You know, that haunted house was cool, and you know, I don't know what made that year such a great year because I went twice, and I was in high school. Wasn't our junior high? We was in junior high.
Junior high.
Yeah. But what made it so cool because they didn't really chase you; they messed with your mind.
Yes.
Everything that happened, it kind of like, oh my God, you know, with the castic scene with the person laying there dead, and you walk by and you view it, and then he just sits up and looks at you. And then he starts screaming because he's not dead. You know, I remember that scene because that bothered
That's
me
crazy.
because it wasn't nothing. It was just a guy waking up that, oh my God, I'm dying. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like it was really a creepy thing. And what made us go back the second time when you started hearing stories about the house, the employee saying, "Man, this place is crazy." You know, and it was just they bought this house and renovated it to put the haunted house in and keep it there, and they didn't do it.
And did you know they tore it down eventually?
Yes, they tore it down because nobody would buy it.
You know what's there right now? The softball complex.
Yep. Nobody would buy it.
Yep.
Man, that's kind of how the old JC's Haunted House and Enterprise was, where it wasn't just boo, rah, 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 and I got a chainsaw. It was, they really messed with you.
Yeah.
Like, the way they did the end part, and the end part's the best part because, you knew it was going to happen because at the end you'd always see the guy come out with the chainsaw revved up, chasing people out. That's how they'd leave, running, screaming. And, but they have a maze at the end, you see.
Yeah.
And he's hidden in the maze somewhere, and he's always random.
Yeah.
And you never see him, because he has little trap doors he goes through. So he can get ahead of you in the maze.
Oh.
And he would chase you and play with you.
Oh, wow.
And not like David does, but, in your mind.
Well, that's what Holt was saying when they would bring you in that room.
Yeah.
That what was cool about it, they would bring you in this room and close the door on you. And you was in this hot room that looks like you're entering a funeral parlor or getting ready for a viewing of a 1800 dead person. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird feeling. And they'd leave you in that dark room, just y'all standing there for a minute.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was a lot longer. It gets hot. And tell me if I'm messing the house up. And when you finally go start, then you get the cool air. And then it went from hot to really cool, and that's where the lady and you started making your way through. And each one was almost like a play or a segment that set you up to each tone.
Those few years that they really had that house, and they really put a lot of effort into it. And it was like segments.
Well, there was a room, a baby's room, that was covered in blood, like a murderer came in there and hacked up a baby or something. But it didn't show it. It just gave you that thought as you walked through it. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like
they took that from a movie that
but that's how the house was set up, where it messed with you. You know what I'm saying? It messed with your mind. Yeah, you got something, Sean?
I was just gonna say the coolest haunted house that I ever went to was right after The Ring came out. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it has the
Sean.
I have not seen
the scary girl with the hair over her face, dark hair over her face.
Yeah.
Is that Fruto?
In the very beginning of the haunted house, you went into a small room, kind of like what you were describing, and it was just real empty, and you were waiting for something to happen, and nothing ever happened. And then finally, someone would come in and direct you to crawl through the fireplace, which you had no idea that's where you were supposed to go. Immediately, as soon as you crawled through the fireplace and stood up, you were in a room that looked like a little girl's room and had like all little girl decorations, and then right in front of you was that little girl standing there. It was the freakiest thing ever. You totally didn't expect it.
I'll tell you what, Louisville, Kentucky's got a haunted house, and it's year round, where it's not open, but they work on it year round, and they have a caretaker that works on it. It's the old morgue or whatever they call it, and they work on it constantly. And we had a chance to investigate it, and I'm telling you, something creepy is being closed up in that old haunted house with the different rooms, nobody else in there. There's nothing going on. It's just the point of sitting in one room with the baby dolls hanging. There was one room, nothing but baby dolls hanging. Creepy. There was another room where they had used coffins in one room spread out, opened up. And you go through all through, but I remember the baby doll room, we had a bunch of baby dolls hanging, like with nooses. That's the room that Marty kept gagging and throwing up. And if you ever see any of the pictures of Marty gagging, that was the room, because we'd lead her back to that room every time to get her to gag.
What is it about baby dolls hanging got her?
I don't know what it was about that room, but it made her sick every time she got in there. She started gagging. It was really funny.
Remember that one lady that would throw up every time we took her turn investigation? Do you remember? Wasn't it David's friend's friend in the Jeep?
Oh, God, I think so, yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I can't remember.
Every time we went on an investigation,
I'm sick.
And it would just puke.
The ghost got me.
You need to quit eating hot dogs, lady.
I want a bowl of chili.
Wow, that's good times.
Oh, man, that's good times.
Doesn't Waverly Hills have a haunted house? I remember I've investigated, and I thought they had one downstairs. I wonder how that would be.
That'd be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
I think, it's always best when you have sort of a legend surrounding it, like the stuff with Dexter Avenue and all that.
Yeah, I think so. That adds to it.
Yeah, man.
Those were the good times.
I was reading today about Neil Gaiman, one of my favorite authors, started a new he's trying to start a new sort of thing for Halloween.
Neil Diamond?
Neil Gaiman.
Oh, sorry.
Not Diamond.
When did Neil Diamond write a book?
Neil Diamond.
Sweet Caroline.
Dun, dun, dun. Good times never. Okay.
I'll just wait.
Pour
ahead,
me
I'm
a
sorry.
drink, and I'll tell you some lies.
There he goes.
What were you saying?
I don't know. What was I saying,
Just
Neil?
tell us about your favorite author, Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond?
Neil Gaiman.
Anyway, it's called All Hallows Read. Basically, the idea is that just like candy and all that, with your friends only, sort of like a Christmas thing.
Yeah.
But you give each other scary books. I like that.
That's pretty cool.
All Hallows Read. They sort of have a charity thing where they're doing that for kids now and all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They've got big book companies kind of donating certain books and all
Yeah.
that. Because, I don't know about you guys, but, when the Scholastic Book Fair came around, I don't know if you guys had that.
We did. We didn't go to that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Hey, if y'all want to do that this year,
You were the delinquents.
give me a picture book.
Coloring book?
Yeah, Playboy.
Why don't we do something like that? That'd be a good project.
We're going to give each other...
Not Playboys.
I mean, really?
I'm getting excited.
I got fired up. I was like, yeah, give me one.
Wow.
I've given you a bunch. You kind of owe me on this
You ain't
part.
gave me any Playboys.
Sweet
You really need to start, making sure we're clear about that?
All right, horror books, scary books.
Scary books, yes.
I gave you the Malachi Barton
Yes,
book.
you did. Well, I love it. Thank you. I've borrowed it. You get it.
But we're making a joke and laughing about this. But our group and us, we do a lot for reading for literacy. You remember the campaign we did?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know one thing.
Remember the library?
Yeah, we did do something for the library.
The literacy program.
We sure did.
We
We didn't
a lot.
do nothing for the literacy program.
But we helped out. We did a fundraiser and stuff for the library. So
That's to help them buy books for the children.
Yeah.
Y'all donated $1.
Yes, we did.
We donated lots of dollars.
A lot of dollars.
David read Good Night Moon.
Yes. We raised enough money in a weekend to help that library for a year.
Yes, that's the truth.
So
we do need to get back and doing more for these libraries,
awesome.
telling ghost stories if we can tell any.
There's
just
no
do whatever
funding.
we do.
I'm going to read Good Night Moon.
What is Good Night Moon?
Kids.
Yes.
Come on.
I don't know what Good Night Moon is.
The book that everybody reads their kids, except you, apparently.
I don't know.
The
what
Man
it
in the
is.
Moon.
He doesn't read the bedtime stories I
Oh,
do.
gosh, see?
He just tells the bedtime stories.
Good Night Moon.
Yeah, Sean's like, one time I was in New Orleans and I had 5 hurricanes, boys.
Woo! Good times.
There's a lot of people like my hurricane.
And your Uncle Hump was on stage with a pole.
And a
I
donkey.
had
And there's a donkey in the...
I had to bribe him out of the gay bar.
Not me. Up in the poles.
I had plenty of beads for everybody, and they were the good kind.
Oh God. The good kind. What's the good kind?
The real cool beads.
No, I don't want to. I think we need to stop it. Anytime you
that's
mention
not
New
gonna be
Orleans
good.
gay bar and the good beads, I want to end the conversation.
We're done.
This thing,
Okay.
Todd Sheets will be contacting us and say, guys, we're fine.
Good time.
Good job.
Yeah.
Why don't you go somewhere that isn't broadcast?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
They love it.
Humping his beads.
I'd like to do a big trip and get all our listeners, everybody that wants to go, to follow us down to New Orleans for a weekend.
All right.
Wouldn't that be fun to have listeners from the show
Is anyone else a
and
little
absolutely
disturbed by
promote that and have them come on down to New Orleans for a weekend with us?
I think that's the wrong thing to say after the good beads.
Yeah, and Hump,
We
look
could all
at,
have
and
good
Hump look at
beads.
us dancing with his neck. Like he's excited.
Let's all go to New Orleans because we know what happened last time David went to New Orleans.
We had the good beads.
There's probably an underage boy somewhere in a gutter.
Ooh-ah, ooh-ah. Hey, remember them feather boas I
I was
had?
out of commission for a couple
Yes.
Yes, you are. We're not going to there, but I was like, oh.
I hurt myself. I fell down.
We see the feather boas coming down the stairs when you look at Hump's wife and we're like, really? And she's like, those aren't mine. Remember that?
Those ain't mine.
I remember it.
But I had a good time.
Some things are just burned in your memory.
Yes.
Hey, maybe next year we can plan like a radio
Down at the
show.
Crossroads Radio
getting
weekend.
away. That'd be fun.
I think Hump might have scared everyone. I don't think we should do it right now.
Oh, I believe they're going to be emailing you.
Hey, if you're interested in it, hey, listen to the show. Hey, shoot us an email. Let us know if you're interested. We'll try to plan something next year.
Wouldn't that be great,
It's a great time to plug that right after that story.
Yeah.
And we'll have good beats for everybody.
No.
No good beats for everybody.
Golly.
Because Hump will make you earn them.
Yes, I will.
Wow.
I wonder if Rick's listening tonight.
You know what else is delicious in New Orleans is breakfast.
What?
I'm just trying to completely get away from that.
it. Well, what
No
type
segue.
type of breakfast?
How about Flanagan's?
But they don't have breakfast.
But they have great sandwiches.
You remember that place that had the really good grits that was
Yes.
like $18?
Was that?
Everyone was extremely mad that we went to because it was $20 for a buffet or something.
I'm vaguely
Is that the Market Buffet?
It was like Westies. It's not Westies because that's in Memphis, but it was.
No,
like
you talking about? It was the place up the road from what you call it?
Yeah, from the hotel.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it. It was very good.
It was good, but man,
I like the place we went to that had the
Cafe
hash brown.
Beignet, yeah.
Cafe Beignet is very good for
they
breakfast.
had the Cajun hash brown. See, I went there on my honeymoon. Where you have like the big home style taters cooked up with the Cajun spices,
Yeah.
and you had the grilled onions and peppers with it with the andouille sausage.
Yeah.
And you had like real good scrambled eggs and toast.
But you know what? You might as well just be a tourist and go to the French Market Cafe and get you a buffet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's right.
Because you can go there and eat the buffet.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. It's very cheap.
Compared to that, it's only like $7-8.
Yeah, and that's all you can eat. So if you want to be cheap, that's the route to go for morning. You can eat enough there to keep you good half the day. Then later on that evening, go to Flanagan's and get you a patty melt. Then you're set for the night.
If you're a 90-pound female, maybe not.
Yeah.
Then maybe that's not worth it. But for me and Sean, we'll eat our money's worth.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You got more eggs back there, boy?
And you better be ready for the evening.
And you notice their bacon, they don't hard fry it.
No.
It's soft. It's
soft.
limp.
Yeah.
I love it limp.
They cook it right.
Yeah. But,
delicious.
But there's a lot of, you can be really reasonable down there if you're careful.
Yeah, if you're careful.
know
Flanagan's
where to
isn't
go.
expensive at all.
No, not at all.
And then if you need to get your head right, get you 3 Hurricanes at Lafitte's Guest House and you're done for the
or
day.
one voodoo. Just one.
One voodoo will do you in.
Or triple voodoo if you want to start calling people cheaters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Wow.
Voodoo.
You know, the last time we went was a month or so ago, and we had a good time. Check out LordChaz.com if you're ever down in New Orleans, and definitely check that out. So, that would be a good thing for us to do and plan.
I would love to. I'd love to have some of the listeners, our friends,
Especially come down
people
and
that
see
listen
Lord
to this
Chaz.
radio
Yeah.
show. Come on down to New Orleans with us. Spend the weekend with us. We'll go on the tour with Lord Chaz
It's just,
and
again,
make a
this
weekend, and I'll have beads for everybody.
It's the wrong time to sell
Yeah.
it with all the stores fresh and everyone.
Yeah, if we did set up a weekend there, we could, we can set it up at the Rathbone somewhere. No fees or anything. Just come hang out. We'll do Lord Chaz's tour. Just everybody come hang out. Maybe we can do a radio show.
We might have some feasts in the Rathbone after the shape.
Yeah.
Left it in last
We've
time.
done a live radio show from the Rathbone.
Yeah, we had a good
I
time.
only sort of remember that.
Yes.
Did we do it on our phones?
No, you know what? We did do it on our phones, and I got stuck doing about 30 minutes by myself of it.
I don't remember that.
Yes. I was struggling.
Because there was no internet connection and Jake had to go outside.
That's
room.
right.
Oh,
Matter of
okay.
fact, it was Michelle and me and Melanie, and it was hard to do.
Didn't we have the owner of the Rathbone with us too?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
I remember vaguely.
It was great times. But yeah, we had to do it from a phone.
Hey, you never know. We could have our play done. We can put our play on the road next year.
Or play on the road.
Yes.
New Orleans.
Yes.
Pencil thin mustache ahoy!
Ooh-ha, ooh-ha.
You gonna
Hey.
twist it then?
Yeah, I'm on 12. It'll be twisted by then.
Wow.
I'd wear my seersucker suit when
That's
it's summertime.
creepy.
My God, you look like a pederast.
I'll get you beads.
David,
Jake's go right up on a donkey.
Come on, man.
I love it.
David, is this your coming out of the closet show without a doubt?
No,
because it's
absolutely
good to just let us
I
wonder.
mean, people know that I love women. I absolutely love women.
And little boys.
That's Holly slamming me twice tonight. Wow.
We're going to joke about that too much one day, and David's going to get vanned.
Yes.
He's going to have the FBI
The
van pull him
FBI's
up.
going to knock on my
They
door.
gonna pull him up. They gonna take his computer. Take everything.
Oh, wow.
Break his bed.
Yeah.
Try to find pictures.
I was like, I'm just kidding.
It's just a joke,
It's a
y'all.
very bad joke.
People
Mr.
know
Humphrey.
I love women.
What about this collection of tiny shoes, Mr. Humphrey?
Those ain't mine.
That is horrible.
Wow. Everybody that knows me knows what I'm like.
Yes.
I know that's not a question.
I mean, really. Wow.
You know what? You got to admit, if Hump ever had a van, I mean, a real panel van, we would be quite disturbed.
Yes.
Like an old painter's van.
Have you ever grew a pencil-thin mustache like John Waters?
Wow, that's creepy.
Wear like a Pee Wee Herman suit?
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking about it right now. Listen to the music.
Get busy, y'all. Doom, doom.
Is that his van music?
That's what I listen to in the van.
Is old rap?
Technology.
Now you're singing Napoleon Dynamite.
I know, isn't that crazy? My mind goes everywhere. It's just speeding. It's like
Well,
all
we're
over
definitely
the
going to need
place.
some listeners to help us find the wheels for the show.
Yeah, the wheels has definitely come off.
You know, I think the listeners will enjoy it. I think we'll get a lot of feedback from the show.
You think so?
Because
I
they're
think
gonna
you
wanna
will
go to
from the
New Orleans.
FBI.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it don't matter. I'm doing it for the show. We'll get some publicity.
I'm doing that for the show?
Because when I get on CNN, I'm gonna throw two fingers up and be
Is that
like,
why you're looking
down
for
at the Crossroads
You
Radio.
have a Down at the Crossroads Radio t-shirt?
Yeah, I'll be like, holla,
Getting her
two fingers.
Wow.
Peace.
At least you don't have a castration machine that I know of.
Ooh, I won't go like that.
Like
that.
the guy in...
That's creepy. Alexis, Alabama.
Literally a guy in Eclectic around us had that.
Made CNN news on that. That's
and had
creepy.
Pictures of it. Of the
Nasty.
machine in use.
That's gross. You know, that's pushing the envelope.
Yeah,
That's gross stuff.
Anyway, I think we've provided enough people Google topics.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah.
Um,
I'm actually looking up Tennessee Williams quotes.
Hey guys, y'all vote for the New Orleans trip. We're down at the Crossroads Radio. Please send us feedback on that. I'd love to have that set up by the next 8 months.
I think Sean has completely forgotten we're doing a show.
Oh, no,
That's
I'm
okay.
here. You know, I kind of blocked out Hump panel van, FBI picking him up.
I keep looking at Sean like, come on, help me change the subject. Sean's like, I'm looking up Tennessee Williams quotes.
I don't know where to go with it now. You know, I don't know what to do for David.
Luckily-
Everybody's quite concerned.
Luckily, it's break time.
That's good.
Play music. What kind of music are you going to play?
Bon Iver.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like panel van music.
Oh, boy. Okay, we're just going to go into break on that.
We love our guest.
And we're back. I think that Thriller was the appropriate song.
I think so.
Thriller.
That sets the tone for a fun second hour of telling stories. You know, I'm kind of concerned because Hump's kicking off the story each time, and before we bouncing around, and I'm afraid Hump's story is going to start. There was 3 Belgian boys, a donkey, and some lube.
Yes, it's a paranormal horror story.
Oh, God.
Yes, it made a mass splash.
Oh God! Oh, wow!
Get us in the mood here.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that's fitting.
A little music. Well, David? Wow, okay.
What are you doing, man?
I'm getting ready to tell my
You're
story.
definitely getting ready for something.
I had to get relaxed.
All right,
I
Hump.
see.
I'm a little
Okay.
concerned. See if Michelle will dim the lights.
Yeah, turn the lights
Make
out.
us a,
Let's make it dark
us a
in here.
show. Set the tone.
Okay.
There we go.
Y'all ready?
Yeah, then here's
Yeah,
zip.
it's the intro music.
Waiting on you to start, man.
Yeah. My story starts off in probably 1890 Germany. Very cold Christmas. It's around December. Very cold. The ice is on the ground. It's snowing. And this gentleman goes to the play. There's a local play going on where it's a puppet master play where they're doing the little drummer boy. And he sits there and he's watching this play, and he's such a lonely man, but he's always been looking for that eternal love and that love. Across the way of the play, he sees a young lady who's watching the play by herself, and they stare back and forth to each other the entire play. And he can tell that that's his one true love, that's his eternal love, that they're communicating through each other's eyes, that it's a very peaceful and refreshing kind of they're just staring at each other. Well, the play comes out, and you see the puppet master go to the top, and these puppets come out, and they're so real life, and they're so like human-like, and he's controlling, and he starts the puppets, and this guy's in total awe. He's like, those puppets are very human-like. They look so real. And then he keeps gazing into this other lady's eyes, and he just has this very calm, very loving feeling about him. So he wants to talk to her, and he gets the courage to talk to her, and intermission comes up. And he goes outside, and all of a sudden she's not there. She's completely gone. So all of a sudden the play's over with. A few minutes, about 40 minutes later, the play's over with. He leaves. He waits until the last person walks out of the building. She never walks out. He can't believe that he let this girl get right past him. And it seems like they communicated through each other's eyes the entire first half of the play. So he's got to find this girl. So he goes back the next night. He watches the play again. The puppet master goes up to the top, and he brings the puppets out. And they're so human-like. He's like, he keeps staring at their eyes and their skin, and he's like, wow, that looks like humans. He's total freaked out by now. He's like, man, there's no way that, these wooden puppets are, there's no way they could be human. All of a sudden he leaves, he waits. No, the girl's completely gone. 2 nights in a row. He comes back later that night. He's like, I've got to find that girl. That girl has to be here. So he actually breaks in the playhouse. He walks to the back of the building. He walks through these corridors. There's nothing there. All of a sudden he walks into a room where it's just a completely black room with rows and rows of shelving full of these little looks like wine bottles and looks like glass mason jars full of something. I mean, they're everywhere. It freaks him out. All of a sudden he comes through the other room, and boom, he's hit in the back of the head. That's all he remembers. Hours later, he's all tied up in a chair, and he's in another room. And he sees all these puppets hanging on these walls. The puppet master, he comes in, he injects this red, crimson, black-looking tar out of these jars, and he puts them in the puppets. And he's totally freaked out now. He's like, man, I've got to get out of here. This is crazy. So he tries to escape, and as he's escaping, he trips and falls, and all of a sudden here comes a shelf of these glass bottles. They bust everywhere, and blood is all over the floor. He can tell it's blood. There's blood everywhere. All these jars are busting. There's blood. He's like, this guy's ejecting blood into these puppets. He's freaked out. All of a sudden, the puppet master gets so angry, he starts beating them, and he throws them to another room and ties them down. Well, another day, he's all tied up for another day. It seems like another day rolls around. He tries to escape again, but he can hear the puppet master in another room. He creeps in through the room, and he sees the puppet master doing some type of occult spell, some kind of magical spell. Well, he trips again trying to get out, and he breaks the puppet master's spell. Well, all of a sudden, the room went crazy, and he was given eternal eyes. The puppet master, by this time, had to stop his crazy spell. He grabs them again. He grabs 2 butcher's knife. He ties them down, and he starts cutting. He's cutting this guy alive. But what you don't think that he just give him eternal eyes. His eyes will last forever. they're going to make a puppet out of him. He's sending people to make puppets.
Oh, wow.
So they cut him up, they skin him, they put him on this puppet, they take his eyes out, they put his eyes in the puppet, but he still has these eternal eyes, and they lay him up on a shelf. The puppet master leaves. A day or so passes. All of a sudden, he looks up at the puppet and he notices these eyes. It's very dark. These eyes, they're looking back at each other. And he goes, oh my God, that's the girl. They got the girl. So another day goes by and they communicate at each other through their eyes. And you could tell it's just eternal love. The love between these two people that don't even know each other. But it's completely gone now. So all of a sudden, he's got eternal eyes, she doesn't. You could tell that her eye, that she was just going. So she's gone. She's a complete puppet now. So they make a puppet out of this guy. And they're going, it's Christmas time. Christmas rolls around. And he's so mad, but yet there's nothing he can do. The only thing he's got is these eternal eyes. He's up there being the little drummer boy. Brum, brum, brum. And he knows in his head of what head he has left. Because all he has is eyes. That he's got to do something. So he trips himself. And the little drummer boy comes crashing down in the middle of the Christmas play. The puppet master's furiated. He snatches up the puppet. The next day, he sends this puppet to Budapest, Hungary. And he sells this puppet.
Bucharest.
He sells this puppet.
It's all about the booty, dog.
It's all about the booty.
Go ahead.
He sells this puppet to a local kid's store. And all of a sudden, they lay this puppet up on the shelf where he sits for years and years and years as dust and dirt collects on him. And the only thing he can do is think about how beautiful that woman was, that he never got to speak to her. That's it. Isn't that a creepy story?
Yes, hey, David, that was a very good story. Good job.
See,
there we go.
See, I did work on, y'all know, I'm not really good with these stories.
That was
the only way you get good is to do it.
I know that, but when y'all come out with this about doing the stories, like Sean's a storyteller. He can tell the stories and tell this stuff a lot better than any of us can. And then I made a joke, but I really wasn't joking about it. Is horror stories and hauntings and ghost stories is my life. Everything that happens to me seems like it's a ghost story.
All right.
And that Buddha's a pest.
That Buddha's a pest.
Trying to say Bucharest.
Budapest, Hungary.
Anyway.
But the moral of that story was eternal love for somebody. You don't have to know somebody, or it goes back to a spiritual side of things. You don't have to know somebody to just look at them and know you care for that person. It's past crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay.
You can just see them on Facebook and know.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Wow. It seems like they ganged up, like they're a gang over here. I mean, seriously, Holly and Michelle's done posse'd up, and they're firing shots. But that's fine. You know what? I'm going to sit here and take it tonight, but there's always more radio down the road.
Okay. Who wants to go next? I can go next.
Jake Bell, you rock and roll.
Play my own intro music.
X-Files.
I don't know. I just liked it. It was in the little YouTube thing. Anyway, my story's called Protection, which is
Wow. Never leave home without it.
I love a lot of that when he's in New Orleans.
No love without the glove.
I literally have no story title that isn't kind of weird. Like the next one's called The Trunk.
Yeah.
Wow, there she is.
And then the one after that would be Golden Arm.
Oh, wow. Protect the trunk in Budapest.
Wow. With protection.
protection. Okay.
All right.
And it's called protection. I'll repeat that one more time. In every major town and city, there's a piece of property where no official record exists. On the property is a home. The windows have been boarded up for longer than anyone can remember. The previous occupants are untraceable. There's no sign that anyone has ever owned the home. No organization or individual will ever lay claim to the plot. No one will try to buy it. Most people don't even realize it exists. You must break in through a back ground floor window. You must never touch the outer doors. You will see amongst the dust the signs of inhabitants long gone. Flattened cardboard box, an overturned child's cot, balding patches on the carpet where the pile has been worn away. There'll be an old stained mattress in the master bedroom. You will not see rats, cockroaches, or any sign of any animal waste. They know better than to come here. These are its sacred spaces. The first time you visit, bring only what you need to help enter the house. Then locate the master bedroom, stand in the center, and draw an unbroken circle in the dust. Make it about 2 feet in diameter just to be safe. Face the doorway and say aloud, "I wish to make a sacrifice. Will you welcome the offering?" Then leave as quickly as possible. You must not return until the next nightfall. This time, bring nails, a hammer, an empty bottle, a sharp study knife, and a torch. Enter the same way you did last time. Proceed to the master bedroom. Someone will be sleeping there. Don't worry about waking them up. It has taken care of that for you. Turn the person over onto their back and cut their jugular vein, making sure to collect as much blood as you can. You will need to pour a little of the blood on the floor of every room, including the master bedroom, but make sure you have some left at the end. When you're finished, leave by the same way you entered and close the boards up again. Walk home, speak to nobody on your way. When you get there, tip some of the remaining blood into your right hand and smear it over your door handle before you enter. Go to bed. If there is any blood left, you must pour the rest of it onto any pavement in the city, but do not allow it to be poured down a drain. The knife you must never use again, and it should be buried. Do not trouble yourself with covering your tracks. When you next leave your house, the blood on your door will be gone. The murder you have committed will have no repercussions. From the moment you leave its temple, DNA evidence will never again implicate you. Law enforcement will creep around your footsteps without touching them. On cameras, your face will show up in a blur and a sneeze.
Sorry.
You're under its protection now. Just make sure you get the right house. Done.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Good job. That was
like
dark
it.
and
That was kind of creepy.
I like the little ritual ones.
That's very good. That is very good.
I like how Sean lies.
Well, I did
He
like
lies and sneezes and opens his phone right in the middle of stories.
it. Man, that's not cool.
Well,
I was paying attention. Was I doing that? Was I distracting to you?
That was a very creepy story, Jake, but
yes.
That was. So.
why were the kids wanting to get in there?
That's kind of the point. It's you don't really want to go too far into it. That's the questions you want, being asked. I think.
Yeah.
Well, what was his sacrifice?
The person sleeping. Person that got killed.
So he walks in the room and he puts a circle down.
Yep.
And he says at the door, "Are you ready for my sacrifice?"
Yes.
It's a very creepy. I could see that as a movie almost.
Yes.
It's creepy. Who wants to follow that creepiness?
I don't know.
That is very out there.
Oh, God.
That's a tough one.
That was a good one, Jake.
See,
Sean was like, I'm bored halfway through.
no, no, not at all.
Whatever. Go.
Is it Holly's turn? You want me to try?
I think it's your turn, Mr. Playing with cell phones and sneezing.
I don't know. It's going to be hard
I'll
to
go
follow
next.
up the next. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Michelle, jump up
Okay,
there.
she jumped up there.
Go
She jumped
get him,
up there
cowgirl.
quick.
I need a microphone. Is my microphone on?
Yes. Yes,
Okay, sorry.
Is my microphone on?
Professional.
It was turned. All right.
Yes.
This is just kind of, and I'm doing this completely from memory, not reading it like Jake was doing. So
That's my notes.
a note that was a full story. Anyway,
Did you hear me pause or act like I was reading in third grade? Notes. I have notes.
Can we get on, children?
Wow.
my story is about a lady who was in her mid-30s who worked in a nursing home and experienced death on a daily basis. She came home one night feeling, she always worked the night shift, and she came home feeling kind of numb to death and just wondering why it didn't strike any emotions with her anymore, how she could just turn it off, feeling like she didn't really know what she was turning into. Her husband lay sleeping in his bed, snoring. She slowly climbed in, laid her head back against the pillow, and started to doze off. Suddenly, something awoke her, and she felt like there were hands wrapped around her neck. Her eyes shot open, and there was a man who was as tall as the ceiling, dressed in a gray robe. He had no mouth, no expression. She couldn't see any hands, but it just felt like the robe itself had wrapped around her neck and was strangling her. She couldn't scream, she couldn't move, she couldn't do anything to wake her husband up to help her. She was just laying there panicking, and all of a sudden she just could feel him, whatever this man was, communicating with her with his eyes and just kind of telling her, just don't breathe, just stop breathing. He was telling her, begging her to stop breathing with his eyes, and she just refused, and she kept breathing and breathing. And the next thing she knew, she had blacked out. When she came to, she flipped on the light. Her husband was laying in the exact same position he was when she had went to bed. There was nothing in the room, and she knew that she had encountered death and walked away with a new appreciation, quit the nursing home, never went back again, and lived her life. It's very short, but that's my story.
Yay.
Click,
All right.
Click, click, click,
Hey, man, why you being like that?
click.
That's not cool. Holly, you want to go next?
I can.
All right.
As I move in the mic.
That's okay. Just beat it up.
Okay. My story takes place at a school dance. This young girl was at her high school dance, and it was getting late, and she knew she had to get home. So she left the dance. As she's walking to the parking lot, she feels someone staring at her and watching her every move, making her way to her car. She puts the keys in the door, opens her door, and gets in. She looks around because she still feels as if someone's watching her. She starts to drive off. Just as she drives onto the street, another car comes behind her. She starts driving, and this car is directly behind her, flashing his lights. And she gets kind of, weirded out because she knew that someone had been following her from the school dance. So she kept on going down the road, heading to her house. This car was still behind her, would not give up, kept flashing their lights. and she turned onto her street, and she pulled into her driveway. When she pulled in her driveway, this same car pulled in directly behind her, still flashing their lights. So she runs inside her house, and she was screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, call the police, call the police, someone's following me, someone's following me. They followed me all the way home from the school." And just as she's running in, the guy from the car runs out and grabs her. And her dad comes out, and he's yelling at the guy, "Leave her alone, leave her alone, leave her alone. What are you doing? I'm calling the police." And the guy said, "Well, I followed you from the dance, and I was flashing my lights to warn you, because every time I would flash my lights, I would see someone in your back seat." And so, kind of weirded out and scared, the dad and the father and the guy walked to her car. Just as they walked to her car, a man jumps out with a knife and says, "I," and runs off.
Says I?
Says I.
Did he say eternal eye?
You mean
Eternal Eyes.
you mean
Was that Mike Burnett?
Did you mean I? Or did you mean I?
What night
Okay.
was that?
Can't scream. Ah, well, that's okay. It's a classic.
That's a
was pretty
very good
good.
story. Very good story.
Kind of creepy.
Told around campfires everywhere. Very good.
Good job, Holly. You didn't read? I'm impressed. Here's
No,
Michelle.
I was told not to read.
Oh.
No.
You know, I'm kind of nervous for my stories because, you know what, man? I can say I'm not greatly prepared. I'm not in a big-time storytelling mood, but I'm going to try to tell Michelle what we're saying.
Can I tell my next story real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to give you another minute to prepare.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay. This story is about a teenage girl who had a school dance. She hurried home from school one day, did her homework as quickly as she could. Her parents had told her that she wasn't allowed to go to the dance because their preacher had said that the school dance was a sin and she shouldn't be allowed to go. So her parents told her she wasn't going, so she went to bed, waited for them to fall asleep, snuck out, and went to her school dance anyway. When she got there, she was wearing this brand new red dress that she had saved all her money up for, and she just looked absolutely stunning. She walked in, and all the boys who had never paid much attention to her suddenly noticed her, and everyone wanted to dance with her. All of the other girls were envious. She danced with everyone and had the best time of her life. And suddenly, a boy she didn't recognize, tall, dark, handsome, dark, sparkling eyes,
I was there.
tapped her on the shoulder and asked if he could have this dance.
Hello, ladies.
He took her to the middle of the dance floor. They started dancing slowly.
Yeah.
He held her tight in his arms and began spinning her, spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning until she couldn't take it anymore, and she begged for him to stop spinning her, and he just kept on spinning and spinning and spinning.
Wow.
Suddenly, the girl disappeared.
Yes.
She disappeared in ecstasy.
There was a fog that filled the floor.
David.
And the boy smiled at everyone as he faded away.
Yes, like a thief in the night.
The girl had met the devil.
Ooh, that's what she calls me.
Hello,
Ooh,
Satan.
Daddy Devil. Daddy. My.
Look how David just completely took that over.
You sure look good tonight. That was a great story.
So damn
Yes.
fine.
Woo! Michelle, that was the bomb story.
Oh, that was a good story.
You know what? We should do stories and do like a play. We should do stories and do add-ins like that. Wouldn't that
should
be
do
really cool?
A puppet show.
Yes. Yes. Ooh.
I hate to think of what David would use as a puppet.
Oh, wow.
That would be so nice. My socks.
Wow.
Fill that up. Big boy. But wouldn't that be cool to do stories and everybody add to something to them?
Yeah.
Like telephone?
Yeah. Wow.
The game telephone.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Party line.
So, so what story should I try to tell?
It's kind of up to you there, Hoss.
I kind of got two of them. One of them I've never told before.
Well, tell that one.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's going to be any good. That's why I'm kind of hesitant.
Mine sucked, apparently.
No, yours was very good.
Whatever.
Yours was.
Hurt.
Well, this is one of my this is one of my favorite stories in Savannah, actually, and it's a real touristy story, but it's different. It kind of sets the tone of that time period. You know, Savannah is one of those special cities where it was laid out. It was settled by Oglethorpe, and he came over the 122 people, and it was already drawn up in plans. And they set the squares. They did the underground catacombs and tunnels and everything else. And it was a special place for pirates, you name it, any and everybody. And in 1777, a family came over from there was French and Hungarian. There was immigrants, and at that time, Savannah had people from all walks of life. They had pirates, they had immigrants, you name it. It was all in that city. And this one kid that was there, he was 17 years old, and he was born there. He was raised, and he was pretty much the freak of the town. He stood over 7 feet tall. He was covered in hair. And he pretty much had the giant's disease. And if you read about history and everything else, they said his head was the size of a watermelon. The slaves would look at him in awe. Everybody else was just terrified of him. He was very simple, and he was very weird. You know, there's different stories that some people said he was a demon, but he really wasn't. At night, his mother would let him out to play. But of all places, she would let him out to play in the underground catacombs and the tunnels. And he would play there by himself in them dark places. Then at night, he'd come up during where the cemetery is in the middle of Savannah, and he'd play around the outskirts of the cemetery. Then they would find dead animals, birds, squirrels, you name it, where he would actually hold it tight, and he would actually end up killing it. He was really a sweet, sweet person, but he had no idea of his strength and whatever else. And then after a while, the citizens of Savannah started to complain about the dead animals around and about, and how people was afraid of him. So it came to the point where they said, okay, we're going to build a wall. And the family actually built a wall around their house to keep Rene in. And then at night, they'd let him play in the catacombs, and the rest, they would keep him in the wall. And then, throughout the town of Savannah, everybody would want to come and try to peek over the wall and look at Rene out in the yard. He was such a freak and a monster. And as time went on, with the cemeteries where he would play in the catacombs, 2 little girls were found murdered. Both of them strangled to death. And the first thing the citizens thought of had to be Rene. They went home. The mother said Rene's been here the whole time. It wasn't him. And, the town started talking. So the town met and they actually put 2 armed guards around the home of Rene Rendola's family to make sure he stayed in his home and it wasn't him, and as they looked for the murderer. Well, one evening, another little girl was found dead, and Rene was not in his home. They looked everywhere for him, and actually he slipped out. His mother and them left while they was changing guards, and he was downstairs playing in the catacombs, underground playing. They got him out, they carried him to one of the squares, and they tried to hang him up on the tree, and they kept trying to pull him up, and he was so big, so strong, the man was having a hard time stringing him up. And they tried to put him on horses, and the horse they had, and his feet would dangle. And as they started beating him and pulling him back, you heard, BAM! The mom shot him, because she couldn't stand to see her son suffer anymore. And they buried him in their family plot. Well, people came about and said, he was the killer. There's no more murders done. And come to find out, a week later, 2 little girls were strangled again, and their bodies were left where he was buried. And the family freaked out and didn't want to cause any more stories or anything else. So they made them dig up Renee's body. And they verified that he's dead, he's here. And they buried him across the city where they built the new Westin Hotel is. And then Renee Ash, the story and the legend kind of stayed there. And the only time you'd hear about the ghost stories is people would go down and visit the catacombs, the old Masonic things down below the ground. And they would say when they was down there, they would hear a weird laugh and see this huge 7-foot shadow pass by when they're in there. And people would just get freaked out. They said the catacombs are freaky. Renee's still down there. Well, as they was building the Westin and so on in the hotels, they actually dug up a 7-foot body, and they assumed it was Renee. After they dug him up, the stories came about. They started seeing citizens late at night as they was walking home from their bars or where they was just driving about and the squares are empty, the city of Savannah settling. You would see a large shadow move about Colonial Park Cemetery, and they're moving back and forth like he's playing like a little boy in a 7-foot shadow. There's even a story where Clint Eastwood was making Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, and he was staying over there, and he was actually attacked by a 7-foot shadow with a big head, which they claimed it could have been Renee. But either way you say it, if you're ever in Savannah, me and Jake and Hump's been there, and you walk in those streets, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, it's empty, nobody's there. You walk in, you'll feel like you're not alone, and before you know it, you'll see a 7-foot shadow pass by. That's just Renee letting you know he still is walking the streets of Savannah. That's my story.
I enjoyed that. That was really good.
Yeah.
I love the Savannah stories.
There we go.
All right.
David, do you have another one?
No. Do you have one?
I guess it's my turn next, isn't it?
Go ahead, Jake.
Sheesh. Does anyone else have any more?
I've got one more.
You have some? Okay, you want to go first, Holly, or?
I can.
Okay.
This one is about an old hospital on the north edge of town that burned down. A couple years ago, though, it was the fastest, nicest hospital around. Everybody wanted to go to this hospital. They could get you in and out in 30 minutes. And it was the best hospital. Well, one day, it was a hot, blistering day, a guy walked into the hospital and said, "I need to be seen, I need to be seen." And the clerk said, "Can't you see we're busy? Fill out these papers and have a seat. Be patient. Wait." And so he sat down. He waited and waited and waited. No one ever called his name. So mad, he left. He left with fire in his eyes. He said, "You know, I'm going to get them. I don't like to be left alone." So, a couple hours later, the man returned. He sat back in his same spot. No one even noticed that he was gone or left and came back. And he waited and waited, and he went back up there, and he said, "Ma'am, I need to be seen." And the lady said again, "Can't you see we're busy? Have a seat. We will get to you when we can." Something in him snapped. He said, "I no longer want to wait." He said, "I'm tired of waiting. All my life I've waited. All my life I have pain. All I want is a little of attention, and you won't give it to me." So out of nowhere, he brings out this flame-throwing gun, like a torch. And he just torched this lady, torched the nurse. And everybody started screaming and running, and it was total chaos. And he said, "Oh no, no one's leaving alive today." So he ran to the door, he locked all the exits. And he just started putting everything he could find on fire, including himself. And so the fire department came. No one could save the hospital. It literally burned down to the ground. Until this day, if you drive by this hospital on the north edge of town, you can hear people screaming in agony and nurses screaming, "Can I help you?"
All right, good job.
That's creepy too.
Woo, woo, woo.
I guess I'll go and let Sean close it on out.
All right.
Does anybody have one they want to get in before Sean closes out? Okay. Mine ain't going to be too long. This one, as I stated previously, is called The Trunk.
The Trunk.
The Trunk.
Ooh.
During the summer of 1983, in a quiet town in the Midwest, a group of kids found an unmarked VHS tape in the bottom of an abandoned farm's long dry well. While they were messing about the area, after watching the tape, they turned it over to the local authorities. The tape has no audio, but depicts a woman recording herself in front of a video camera. She looks haggard, wiping at the long brown hair as she positions the camera just right. A wrinkled frown fidgets on her face in concentration. She moves back slowly, clad in an old olive cardigan and nondescript beige pants. Seemingly in her late 30s, her skinny limbs barely register movement in the loose cardigan. Something in her manner puts you at alert. She seems of a mind to do something drastic. As she moves further back, we see a large old steamer trunk. It's a dark earthen color and worn with age. She looks pensively at the camera for several minutes, then smoothly opens the blackened top of the trunk and climbs inside. The large steamer trunk easily conceals her slender body. We only see her pale arm reach up to close the trunk. Several minutes pass before a change in the tape. The trunk begins to shake slightly. It is barely noticeable at first. The shaking grows in intensity as the tape continues. Shortly, thick black smoke begins to emanate from the trunk. You can only imagine screams as the trunk shakes and smokes violently. Still, there is no audio. Abruptly, the tape ends. After authorities investigated the area, they found an abandoned farmhouse to go along with the well. In the farmhouse, they found a charred body curled in the fetal position on the floor. It was little more than a skeleton by the time it was finally recovered. There were no signs of fire around it. In the attic, they found an old VHS video camera, still on its tripod. In front of the camera was the old worn trunk. There was no sign as to who could have moved the body or deposited the tape in the well.
Wow.
All right, good job.
Woo!
Good job.
Is that lame?
No, I like that one. Good job.
I have no judge of my own character or my own story.
Good
Whatever.
job.
That was a good one.
Okay. Who's next, Sean?
You want me to try to do this? How much time we got?
We got about... It's 10:47, so you need to wrap it up by about, what, 10:57? There you go.
I should be able to do it. It shouldn't take long to do this one. I
Yeah.
don't think. It's a short one. Well, this is a story about a guy that's growing up in the early 1900s. He was well educated for that time period. He loved playing the harmonica, but he always wanted to be a guitar player. His parents was divorced. His dad lived in Memphis. He lived with his mother. He kind of bounced back and forth, and he'd go to these old clubs and stuff. He'd play the French harp, and then he'd want to play the guitar, and his friends would make fun of him. He would play. He'd be so horrible. They was just like, "Man, you're horrible, man. What's going on? Put it down. You're gonna run all the women off." And they'd all just give him such a hard time. So as one day while he was going to work, he was walking down the road, and he met eyes with somebody that changed his life forever. Literally changed his life forever. Being a kid that's been privileged for that time, for that age, being educated for that time period, being so self-indulged, having all these dreams in excess, he met something that changed his life forever. He fell in love for the first sight. He walked over to her. They started talking, and instantly there was love at first sight. They was together. They soon got married, and every day he thanked God for all the blessings he'd given him. He had a good job. He had his wife that he loved more than anything in the world, and all the things he wanted for being a famous musician. All that meant nothing anymore. The only thing mattered was his wife. The next blessing came when she told him that she was pregnant. And he was so happy. I mean, he couldn't imagine having the love of his life. And then the next, he's fixing to have his baby. They went through the 9 months, and at night he would get the French harp and he would play and sing to his wife's stomach as it grew. As she was giving birth to the baby, he was standing outside the room. At that time period, you know, they had the kids in the house, and he could hear her screaming. He knew something was wrong. And by the time he got to the door, they came out and they said, "I'm sorry, your wife and baby's passed." He was devastated. I mean, absolutely devastated. I mean, everything he hoped, everything he dreamed, everything he ever wanted was gone instantly. He would go nightly and drink and sit there on her tombstone and just cry and cry and cry. And one of these cold, cold Mississippi nights, he was sitting there on her grave. He was leaning over her crying, and he pretty much looked up at God and said he denounced him. And as he lifted his head up, he heard a guitar playing in the background. He looked across the cemetery, and there sat a guy sitting up on the tombstone playing. The guy looked at him. It's almost as if they was next to each other, but they was at least 20 yards away. The guy quit playing the guitar. He started easing across the cemetery to this guy while he was on his knees. He wiped his eyes because he didn't want him to see he was crying. They looked at each other, and the only thing the guy said to him was, "Isn't it funny when you can hear the wind howl at night?" He picked his hand up, and he said, "Can I help you with something?" And the guy said, "Yeah, I want to." He said, "You know what? I've denounced God. I've lost everything. I don't have anything. The only thing I want is to get out there and go and play the blues because I have so much to sing. But I can't play the guitar." And when the guy said, "Well, let me introduce myself. I'm Scratch. Some of you around here might know me as Ike. To sell your soul and to do this, you must go ahead and give it all. Are you willing to sacrifice everything for these vices and what you want to do?" Robert Johnson said, "The only thing I want in life is to leave my music in a mark and change things forever, as the loss of my love has." Well, he moved, actually ended up started hanging out with Ike. They met several nights in the cemetery. And as people would scroll by, going to these local juke joints and bars, they each see Robert cry. Now they see him sitting in the cemetery with a strange guy. They knew him. All the communities knew him. He was a local witch doctor. Some even thought he was the devil himself. Some remember saying, as the rumors went by, that he always looked the same. Ike never aged. And Robert would sit there and play, and they would laugh. "That boy's lost it all. He's still trying to play the guitar." Next thing you know, pretty much Robert was gone for a while. Just disappeared. About a year or so later, this juke joint was playing. It was back in the hometown, and it was, you had Willie Brown, you had Son House, all of them doing their rounds playing. It was a big night of blues at the bar. And all of a sudden, in comes Robert Johnson. No more sorrow. Completely changed. Dressed to the T. And just something about him was different. Robert came right in. He looked at everybody. He didn't shake their hands for some reason, what they thought that was weird. He walked up on stage, and as he grabbed his guitar, they started laughing on Willie Brown and him and Son House. And Son House was a big, massive blues player. He was a former preacher. He looked up as Robert Johnson looked across the audience. He looked at Son House, who was a preacher, and they met eyes, and Son House knew instantly. Robert grabbed the guitars, and as he grabbed the guitar, Son House and Willie Brown saw his fingers grow. He grabbed the guitar and he started playing in ways and doing things that nobody ever could imagine was real. Son House knew instantly Robert Johnson had sold his soul to the devil. He grabbed the guitar, he packed it up. Son House walked out the door and left it there, and Robert Johnson played. He had several years of fame. He recorded 29 songs. All the songs was telling about everything about life. Hellhounds on My Trail. You name it. Come On in My Kitchen. Everything about his music was about him selling his soul, was about the hoodoo and the voodoo and the magic and everything it took for him to get where he wanted and what he wanted. He gave everything he had because he lost everything inside. He recorded his 29 songs, and he left that last song for every other artist in time. From Leonard Skinner the Doors, all these other people that worshipped him throughout the time and recorded the Crossroads. He left that for them. He fathered rock and roll, but he sold his soul to do it. Robert Johnson made a name for himself all over, from Chicago, from Texas to Mississippi. He could hear one song and play it automatically, word for word, play by play, whether it was country, western, whatever, he could play it. When he would play juke joints, he'd turn his back and play because he didn't want other artists to see his licks, and he didn't want other artists to see his fingers grow as he could play and do things that he shouldn't be able to do. One night when his time was running out, he went back home. He was playing in the juke joints, and as always, he was very much a womanizer, and he was messing with a local owner of the bars woman, and he got mad. Well, Willie Brown was hanging out with him at that time, and somebody gave him a half pint of whiskey. In that time period, no blues singer ever drank a half pint of whiskeys. So Willie Brown slapped the whiskey out of his hand. Robert Johnson said, "Don't ever slap the bottle out of my hand again." That night he was playing. Before you know it, somebody else slipped him a bottle of whiskey again that was poison. He drank it. He went back to playing, and he knew he wasn't feeling good. But he knew anyway. The night before, old Scratch came back and said, "I'm here to collect, boy. You've had your 7 years. You're 27. It's time to go home." Robert knew it. So as he got sick, they carried him to a local house. And he laid there. No white doctor would touch him because he was black. No black doctor would touch him because they knew he had worked with the devil. And they knew what was happening to him. So he laid there and suffered. They said they could hear demons cry as he was dying. They said you could hear him crying, screaming for his kids. They said you could hear the baby crying out of his voice. Anything you can imagine as he died. His soul died. His love died. It's all was dying right there. When he passed away, it was over. Willie Brown and everybody else took his body and they buried him in 3 different locations, hoping when they come to collect they couldn't find which grave the body was in. Well, for that happening, for them doing that, rock and roll was found, but that community was cursed. 1 year to the date of his death, that entire little town was wiped off the map by a tornado. And that's the story of Robert Johnson.
That was good stuff, man.
Yeah.
He paved the way for rock and roll.
He did. He did. Jake, what you laughing at?
I don't know. I'm just giggling.
Just giggling?
Just giggling.
Wow. How much time we got?
About a minute.
Well, I guess we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
We should have a guest probably next week. Will Michelle let us know? If not, we'll always cover something else soon. Check out our websites at SeanSellers.com, SouthernParanormalResearchers.org, and also ChroniclesOfTheSupernaturalist.com. Sign our guest books. Get a copy of our book. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're interested in having a meet and greet or something. We'll all get together soon.
David can meet you at any.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. But other than that, guys, we appreciate you very much for supporting, doing what we're doing. Thank you for listening to our radio shows, our books, everything else out there. Thanks a lot. Hump, you got anything before we catch out?
Thank you. Catch me on Facebook.
Definitely. Holly? Anything? All right. Michelle?
They can't see your hand wave.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Jake Bell?
Bye.
All right. Do all the good you can by all the means you can and all the ways you can as long as you ever can, guys. I'm Sean Sellers with Jake Bell, David Humphrey, Holly, Michelle. We love you guys. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.